Why the children of Israel demanded a king, the untold story before Talut Islamic history. Part 1. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Every great nation reaches a turning point, a moment when its future depends upon one decision. Not a decision made on the battlefield, but a decision made inside the hearts of its people. Tonight, we explore one of the most remarkable chapters in the history of the children of Israel. A story that begins not with victory, but with fear, not with strength, but with weakness, not with a king, but with a nation desperately searching for one. Yet before we begin, imagine this. Imagine living in a land that Allah promised to your forefathers, a land where prophets once walked, where revelation descended, where generations had witnessed the mercy of Allah with their own eyes. Now imagine that same nation living in constant fear. Villages are attacked without warning. Farmers cannot protect their fields. Trade caravans travel in fear. Every tribe stands alone. Every family worries about tomorrow. How could the descendants of Moses alayhi salam reach such a state? The answer lies in a lesson that every generation must remember. A nation does not become weak when its enemies grow stronger. It becomes weak when its connection with Allah grows weaker. Our story begins many years after the passing of Yusha bin Nun Joshua alayhi salam. By the permission of Allah, Yusha had led the children of Israel into the Holy Land. The promise made during the days of Musa alayhi salam had finally been fulfilled. For a time, the nation enjoyed stability. But as one generation passed and another took its place, memories of the great miracles began to fade. The generation that remembered the sea splitting had returned to Allah. The generation that remembered the wilderness had disappeared. Children now heard those events only as stories from their elders. And slowly many hearts became attached to worldly comfort more than remembrance of Allah. The surrounding nations followed different beliefs and customs. Some worshipped idols, others placed their trust in false gods made by human hands. Allah had repeatedly warned the children of Israel not to imitate such practices. Yet history teaches us that spiritual decline rarely happens overnight. It begins with small compromises. One custom borrowed, one act of disobedience ignored, one warning forgotten. Then another, until people no longer recognize how far they have drifted. As obedience decreased, unity also disappeared. The 12 tribes became divided. Each tribe looked after its own interests. Disagreements became common. Justice weakened, and whenever unity disappears, enemies become bold. The neighboring peoples watched carefully. Among the strongest were the Philistines. Their armies were disciplined. Their weapons were advanced. Their commanders were experienced in war. Seeing the weakness of Israel, they increased their attacks. Villages were raided. Harvests were stolen. Families fled their homes. Fear spread throughout the land. Many people asked, "Why has Allah's help not come?" The answer was painful. Allah had never abandoned them. They had neglected the guidance He had sent. Yet Allah is the most merciful. Whenever His servants sincerely return to Him, His door remains open. During this difficult period, Allah raised a noble prophet among them, Shamwil Samuel alayhi salam. He was not sent merely to prepare an army. He was sent to rebuild faith, because every lasting victory begins with sincere belief. Shamwil alayhi salam traveled among the tribes. He reminded people of the covenant made with Allah. He reminded them of Ibrahim alayhi salam, of Musa alayhi salam, of Harun alayhi salam, of Yusha alayhi salam. Again and again, he taught that victory belongs only to those who obey Allah. Some people accepted his message. Others remained attached to worldly thinking. They believed their greatest problem was not weak faith, but weak leadership. As years passed, enemy attacks became more severe. The elders of the tribes gathered together, for perhaps the first time in many years. Every tribe agreed on one thing. They needed one leader, one ruler, one king. Finally, they came before their prophet. With respect, they said, "Appoint for us a king so that we may fight in the cause of Allah." It sounded like a sincere request. But Shamwil alayhi salam knew the history of his people. He knew how quickly promises could disappear when sacrifice became necessary. So he asked them, "Would you perhaps refuse to fight if fighting were prescribed for you?" The question struck every heart. Immediately they replied, Why should we not fight in the cause of Allah when we have been driven from our homes and our children? Their words sounded determined. Their intentions appeared sincere. But Allah, the knower of every heart, already knew what would happen. The time had come for Allah to choose the first king of the children of Israel. But the one who chooses leaders is not people. It is Allah. And the man whom Allah would choose was someone the nation never expected. To be continued. Why the children of Israel demanded a king, the untold story before Talut Islamic history. Part 2. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In Part 1, we witnessed how the children of Israel reached one of the darkest moments in their history. Their tribes were divided. Their enemies had become stronger. And despite being the descendants of great prophets, they had begun to place more trust in worldly solutions than in complete obedience to Allah. It was then that the elders came to their prophet, Shamwil Samuel alayhi salam, asking him to appoint a king who could unite the nation and lead them in the path of Allah. At first, Shamwil alayhi salam questioned their determination. Would they truly fight if Allah commanded them, or would they lose courage when the test arrived? The people answered with confidence. They believed they were ready. But Allah, the knower of every heart, knew that the greatest test was still ahead. Then came the moment that changed the history of the children of Israel forever. Allah revealed His decision. Through His prophet, He declared, "Indeed, Allah has appointed Talut as your king." The gathering fell silent. This was not the name anyone had expected. Talut was not among the wealthy. He did not belong to the most influential family. He was not the man the tribal leaders had imagined sitting upon the throne. Almost immediately, voices of objection were raised. They said, "How can he have kingship over us, while we are more deserving of kingship than he is, and he has not been given abundant wealth?" Their response exposed a weakness that still exists in many societies today. People often judge leadership by wealth, by family, by influence, while Allah judges by qualities far greater than these. Shamwil alayhi salam answered them with the words revealed by Allah. "Indeed, Allah has chosen him over you and increased him abundantly in knowledge and physical strength. And Allah grants His kingdom to whom He wills." It was a lesson that would echo throughout history. Leadership is not a prize earned through status. It is a trust granted by Allah. Still, some hearts remained uncertain, so Allah granted them a clear sign. Shamwil alayhi salam informed them that the Talut ark would return to them. The ark was among the most honored relics left from the time of Moses alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam. Its return would be a sign that Talut had truly been chosen by Allah. Just as Allah had promised, the ark was returned. When the people witnessed this sign, many who had doubted became convinced. The objections began to fade. The tribes slowly united under one leader. For the first time in many years, hope returned to the nation. But Allah's wisdom had not ended with appointing a king. The real test was only beginning. Would the people obey Talut when sacrifice was required? Would they remain steadfast when facing a powerful enemy? Would they prove that their earlier promises were sincere? These questions would soon be answered on the battlefield. For beyond the borders stood a mighty warrior feared throughout the region. Jalut Goliath. His army was larger, his weapons stronger, his reputation terrifying. Yet Allah has always taught His servants one timeless lesson. Victory never belongs to the largest army. Victory belongs to those who place their trust in Him. And among Talut's soldiers was an unknown young believer, a humble shepherd, a man whose name had not yet become famous. His name was David alayhi salam. Through him, Allah would soon demonstrate that sincere faith is stronger than worldly power. But that is the story of our next episode. The first king Talut, Saul as Jalut Goliath, and the rise of David as Islamic history. Until then, let us remember the lesson from today's story. Nations are not revived by kings alone. They are revived when hearts return to Allah. Only then does Allah grant them leaders worthy of carrying His trust. And Allah knows best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.